Hey, listen, um, there's no shame in starting over again. There's no shame in starting over. In fact, I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to start all over again from the bottom in your life and in your career and in your relationships at least a few times between when you're born and when you die. I mean, I guess when you're born, that's the first start. That's the restart from the other realm. But you're born, and then I think we have this whole idea that we create this linear progress throughout life where it's like we don't want to lose any ground that we've gained over the years because we feel like every inch is hard earned, whether it's for, again, for things in your professional life where it's like, I've worked so hard to get this stage in my career. I've worked so hard to have this recognition in my field. I've worked so hard to build this company, or whether it's in your relationship. So it's like, I've worked so hard to build this marriage or this friendship or this partnership. I've worked so hard to build this community, whether it's in your your faith. I've spent so much time engaged with this religious group or this spiritual belief. I've spent so much time thinking about this, or in your hobbies. Like, I've spent so much time getting good at this craft or getting good at this skill. Like, all of that comes before the phrase, so I can't give up now, so I can't turn back now, so I can't let it go now, so I can't start over now, because we have this idea that whatever we've gained we can never lose. But I kind of look at things differently. I think that as you go throughout life, whatever you've gained, you always retain. You can't really lose experience. You can't really lose wisdom gained from hard earned experience, because life, although it's always changing, and although the only thing that's constant is change, life does stack up kind of like a video game. XP points. You get experience points, and you get wisdom, just like a tree gets rings for every difficult or challenging experience you go through, and for every time that you've gone through something and been able to reflect on it and then learn something new about yourself or the situation because of that. And so, because you're gaining wisdom, because you're never actually losing anything, even if you have to start over again, even if you need to start from ground zero where you blew up your business, it didn't work. I mean, I've done that a few times for sure. You blew up your business, you blew up your relationship, you blew up your insert the blank. You even if it's just something simple like you really want to move to a new location and you want to get yourself out of the city that you were raised in, or you want to get yourself into a place that's going to be more inspiring or more in line with where you are now in your life. Like, these are all things where it's okay to start over, because you're taking everything with you that you've gained. You're taking all the positive stuff, and hopefully in the next stage you're leaving behind some of the negative stuff. And but what travels with you is the experience, to know better and to do better, and to you take those lessons with you. So don't be afraid to start over, because the person who's learned the important stuff is going to go with you at every stop, at every destination in your life. And starting over can also reveal a lot about yourself that you wouldn't have necessarily known, because in your everyday environment, you adapt to circumstances, you adapt to the people and the places and the things, and eventually you become kind of numb to it. And this isn't something that you should feel bad about. We all have a sense of adaptation to our environments, because otherwise everything would be too stimulating. But over time, if you live in New York City, for instance, you get used to the sirens and the horns and the noise and the smells. If you live in if you live in New Jersey, you get used to the snow. These are all things that you get used to because of the part of the environment. Maybe you never quite get used to the snow, but I think you get what I'm saying here. You get used to the smell and the sounds and the sights of wherever it is that you spend the most time in. And you want to be able to reset your baseline once in a while by completely changing up your life, so that you can get a clear idea on what it is that's important and what it is that can be discarded, what it is that needs to come with you to the next phase, and what it is that can stay with you or stay back. And you can only get that by totally shaking things up once in a while, by totally changing things. In NLP, they would call this a pattern interrupt. You want to pattern interrupt your life sometimes. You want to pattern interrupt the things that have become stale to you. You want to pattern interrupt the things that that you expect sometimes, because even like Joe Dispenza said, sometimes you need to do what did he say? He talked about how when you live in the predictable past, you're creating a predictable future, essentially. When you do the same thing every day, and every day is just like yesterday, and you're going to the same places, you're taking the same route on your Google Maps, you're taking the same trains into work, you're locked into this loop of the world. It creates this scenario where you don't actually have as many opportunities to have new experiences because you lock yourself into a pattern. And so you see the same people, you do the same things, you eat the same food, you smell the same smell. And there's a beauty in consistency, and you can build momentum through consistency, but you can't, you're not necessarily going to open up you're not going to open up your world for the types of opportunities that don't find people who are open. And being open to the world and being open to receiving new opportunities from the world is something that you have to actively maintain, because I think it's in our nature to like close off, to narrow our focus, to really lock in and zone in, whether it's work and with family and with all the things that like take our day-to-day attention. We're locked into a schedule, and that closes us down. And so many of the good, interesting, fun, important opportunities in life come when you're available to new stimuli, to new perspectives, to new people, to new partnerships, to new ideas. And so you have to be constantly exposing yourself to new things. It's like, you get stronger when you expose yourself to new viruses. I guess that's maybe not a good analogy for this, but like either way, you just want to make sure that you are ready and available for the opportunities that life has when life presents them to you. And you can't do that in a routine all the time. And if you don't shake your life up once in a while, you don't start over, you're going to stay in that routine. So if you have started over, or if you're thinking about starting over, or if you know you need to start over, don't be afraid. It's just part of life, and it's okay to experience being bad at something too. Sometimes when you start over, you don't feel good at, your new job, or you don't feel confident in your new situation. And it just takes time to rebuild that confidence, to prove to yourself that you have what it takes, and you're going to meet people who are going to come to your aid. There's another quote that says something to the effect of, when you set your intention on something, the universe conspires in your favor. Like, I'm paraphrasing all these Instagram quotes, but I believe that. I believe that when you set your mind on something, you set your attention on something, you will start to see opportunities pop up, like Stuart Wilde says, like corks on a lake. Opportunities pop up, and then you don't have to try to put yourself into the position to experience good things. They just happen. And sometimes starting over is the best thing you can do, to just reset the deck, to clear the board, as they would say, and to give yourself a new shuffle. If you've been worried that you're not getting what you deserve out of life, sometimes maybe it's a good opportunity to reshuffle the deck in your favor. That's an opportunity that you have, especially if you're watching this video. There are some changes you can make. There's some moves you can make, but you probably have to start over in one or several aspects of your life. And that could be okay. That could actually be a really, really good thing. It could be a really good thing, because you never know what's on the other side of a brand new start. Okay, that's it. God, this is a long one. I just meant to say this in the car, and now I'm going in. I'm going to go just finish working out, head in the office, back to work. See you. Bye.